Welcome to this week's sort of an episode, sort of a special edition of this UK Makers podcast, kind of episode 9. And the reason why I'm saying it's a special edition is Rosie and Matt aren't very well. So I've brought in a special guest, also a James, a fantastic name, and it's James from Malt And Make. James, hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I hope I live up to being a special guest. Maybe in one sense, at least.
I've got to be honest, you're much better looking than Matt. I mean, you're an absolute joy to look at compared to Matt. You know, he'd be there eating his lasagna, his healthy meals. You know, just disgust me.
Isn't that the reason that people listen to this podcast, to find out what Matt has been cooking?
Yeah, and it's
a carrot tabbouleh.
Nice. No, because he eats these like what the Weight Watchers ready meals. You know, it disgusts me and Rosie. So that's the real reason why he's not on this week. He's on a timeout. He's on the bottom of the stairs on the naughty step.
Yeah, where he deserves to be.
Yeah, where he deserves. But no, on a serious note, Rosie and Matt hopefully will be back next week, and they're just not very well. So that is the reason why they're not in this episode. So I thought I would bring on a dear friend, James. Where are you from in the world, James?
So originally I'm from West Sussex, but since 2009, I've been living in London.
Okay.
So I went to university there and I've ended up working in London.
That's okay. So the South, then.
The South, yeah. Not quite France. I'm not in, Somerset, but the South.
I mean, Somerset is known for being near France, to be fair.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there. It is right there. But no, that's university. You are, I must say, you're making us all look bad in a nicest possible way, because you are eye-wateringly clever, eye-wateringly creative, and kind of amazing, really. Are we allowed to discuss,
or at least
profession?
Oh, I do a very good impression online of someone who is all of those things. Whether it rings true or not, I'm yet to let anyone break through this hardened Instagram, YouTube shell.
Yeah, no, it's so you're an actual doctor, like not a doctor of, I don't know, sports science. You're an actual doctor.
Yeah, like a doctor that a 3-year-old would know, not a PhD. Which is what I always say, because my friends who've done PhDs, they go, "Oh, you're not a real doctor. You haven't got a PhD." But, yeah, but a 3-year-old knows what a doctor is, and they mean me, not you.
I'm just gonna embarrass myself now. So, what exactly do you do? I know you're a doctor and you make people better, but what do you specialize in? Anything? Or
I try. So at the moment I am an intensive care doctor. My training is in anesthetics and intensive care.
Oh my God.
And essentially there are certain points in your career that it's relatively easy to take a break. And circa 2019, my now wife and I were planning to take a career break, travel the world for a year. Unfortunately, some international pandemic-related issues occurred. And so rather than doing a lovely year off traveling around the world, we suddenly had to find jobs. She succeeded very easily. I asked the people where I was already working and said, "I'm not going on that round the world trip thing.
Oh no!
Any suggestions?" And they said, "Oh yes, we're desperately in need of someone." I thought, perfect. Oh wait, no, that's a bad idea if they're desperate.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoy where I work. I'm at an intensive care in London, doing intensive care, and then also a part-time master's in healthcare and design.
Amazing. That genuinely is amazing. Did you hear us all clap for you? I clapped. I did clap.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I've got a little wallet full of claps that I'm saving up to pay stuff with. I can't wait for the day.
Yeah, well, funny enough, Matt mentioned that he had clap last week. I don't know really what it meant, but I'm assuming it must have been something related to that.
He is ill, isn't he?
He's very ill. I think it is the clap.
He's very ill.
He did mention something about that. So, yeah, that is phenomenal. And alongside, just being an all-round doctor, helping people, helping everyone out of COVID as we're all panicking and clapping and don't know what to do and, eating our own face masks and faces. also very creative and very well known within the UK makers community on both Instagram and YouTube, and at this year's Maker Central, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Yes, I am.
I did a bit of stalking, as we all do to each other. You started
Good.
back in June of 2017.
Oh yeah.
17 on Instagram, that is. I'm sure you've been making.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about this today. When did I start? And I remember finishing university in about 2015,
right?
And that's the first time I really kind of got the idea of what a maker is. So in my mind, it was at some point a year and a bit after that.
Yeah,
because I remember sitting at work trying to design a logo and going like, oh, what do I want to? It's like something to do with beer, something to do with making, and I ended up kind of half going onto one of those websites where you can kind of tender it out to lots of people, finding someone I liked their design, kind of the designs they'd done previously, and saying, look, here's my idea, can you make it? The only thing, and no offense to anyone who has this in the design, is a circular saw blade around the outside. I don't want that. I know lots of people have got it. It's very good. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't want that. And the first thing they did, here are your ideas in a circular saw blade.
Or a wood plane, a number 4 smoothing plane. That's No offense to those people. It's very nice and it is straight to the point.
But I am not. I didn't want to be I am a woodworker because I'm not very good at anything.
Yeah.
So I thought a spanner. A spanner is like my level of. I'm pretty acceptable at using a spanner.
That's funny. I went for I'm going to go complete. I'm already off the topic now. I went for a job interview.
Oh, it's great, perfect.
Many years ago, and at the time I was working in a car restoration shop, so it was my dream job. So I did an apprenticeship in aerospace engineering. Hated it. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But towards the end, and of that kind of younger age, I was working on Saturday mornings at a car restoration place. Love cars, got classic Triumphs, all this type of thing. And I went for an interview where I was working on a Saturday morning for this company. I'm not very good at telling stories, and they had an open position. And the guy said to me, which has really stuck with me for years and years and years, and I kind of say it in, when I'm talking to other people. So they were doing anything from the mechanic side to paint shop to a full restoration. You bring in a basket case, some like 1950s, E-Type or a Triumph TR3 or, something quite of that age and has been in a barn. And it said, right, James, I don't want to employ anybody, is what he said. And I hate this process. And he sat down. I was like, okay. I want to buy spanners to work for me. And I was like, okay. But he says, I don't want any spanner. Everybody you see out here in this works are adjustable spanners. Every one of them is an adjustable spanner. I don't want a spanner. I want an adjustable spanner. And that stuck with me for years. And I was like, is this guy being a bit weird or just a bit of a knob? But it totally makes sense because everybody who was in that works could do a little bit of everything and like cross transfer the skills, if that makes sense. A bit of paint work and, setting up carbs. That was his job, suspension work and setting up terrible Lucas injection systems and all this type of thing. They were all kind of really clever people. And I wasn't. So I didn't last very long at that job. It was my dream job for many, many years. That's what I wanted to do. I left a really good job and a fantastic apprenticeship in aerospace. And when you're that age, you watch Car SOS and you think you're wonderful and, panel beating and all this type of thing. And I did it, quite a bit of welding and all that type of completely different industry. And it was like, James, why are you spending like a whole day measuring everything and marking it all out? Just get the part, smash it with a hammer, fill it full of filler, and then paint it. I did not suit that industry very well at all. I just jumped into that with the spanner thing because I quite enjoy telling that story. Adjustable spanners.
Yeah, it's a good story. I mean, that's one of those things that there'll be people listening thinking, you know what, I really want to get into this, this industry, and that will be it, and I'll have made it.
Yeah.
And equally, there'll be so many people who have been there and gone, oh yeah, it wasn't really what I thought. It wasn't a fit for me.
No.
It was the closest thing I could kind of put my interest on top of and say, yes, that will fulfill me entirely. And yeah, it's okay not to enjoy the thing you thought you did.
Well, I must admit that I loved it. I loved the first 3 months of that job was amazing because, your boss would come in and throw you, the keys to a Bentley blower. And it was like, right, take that from the back here, put it on the front. The customer's coming, spend the next 2 days valeting it. And I was like, that's amazing. Give me the cotton earbuds and I will, go around this distributor and clean all the crap off of it. I'm well into that, or something of that, kind of caliber, and it's a show car, and it was really, really nice. But then one day I remember pulling up to work. I got there earlier than everybody else, and I was waiting for people who had the keys to unlock. And you'd sit there, and I was in, at the time, this was nearly 10 years ago now, I was in a 1999 Vauxhall Corsa was what I was in. And the guy who had worked there for 30 years was in a 2001 Ford, what was it, like a Focus or something like that. The next guy was in like an old Primera Toyota thing. And I know it sounds really bad, and I am materialistic. I'm not. I like buying things, and I suddenly kind of realised that, oh my God, this is it. And the boss always said to me, "There's only so much money you can charge, James, for people unbolting rusty nuts." That is the reality. So if you want to make money, this is not the game. And he'd promptly turn up in his Ferrari. So it's kind of it bothered me, that industry, in a weird way.
Well, there is a Japanese word, the ikigai, the things, it's the 4 things that a Venn diagram of, things that you can do, things that you're good at, things that have a purpose, and things you can get paid for.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your ikigai is that bit in the middle. And I think everyone is told, oh yeah, you know what? If you set out to find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I love what I do, but it's work. It's still hard. It's, you have days that you don't enjoy.
Absolutely.
I think there's definitely something, particularly I guess in the maker community, of, oh God, I wish I was a full-time maker. I would, then I'd never have to do anything. If you spend any time on Instagram, the joke is, I quit my job. So, I used to work 9 to 5. Now I work for myself and I work 24 hours a day.
Exactly. It does kind of terrify me. I see quite a lot of that, actually. And I see kind of really creative people, and I'm not going to name names because it's just not right for me to do. But yeah, I totally agree, actually. Really kind of nice, really creative people, and they seem to have like a 6 months downward spiral of just getting really, really stressed, and just like, oh, I've got to make 500, I'm going to say wallets, because I'm doing a bit of leather work at the minute. I've got to make 500 wallets this month because supply and the demand, and that wallet becomes what they were doing before, like, I don't know, working in an office, or being a lagging or whatever. So yeah, the monotony, doesn't matter what you do, there
is nothing within making as a kind of a commercial aspect that is going to be entirely fulfilling for everyone. I'm so glad I'm just making stuff. You're not. You're making, you're selling, you're marketing yourself, you're fulfilling orders, posting stuff. But I think that is, I think a lot of the people who do this full time are fully aware, and they go in knowing that, on Mondays, I answer emails. On Tuesdays, I deal with new customers on whatever. And they enjoy that kind of professionalism. But for me, at least, I've never had that aspiration to be a full-time maker. I think about, oh, God, you know what? If I took a year off, wouldn't it be fun to just be in the workshop all the time? That would be great. For sure. If I could be paid to just be in the workshop and not have to deal with sponsors for YouTube, not that I do anyway, but I think that's the lifestyle that people wish they had.
I totally agree, and I always go back to I left a really good apprenticeship, and thankfully I managed to get back into that industry after I'd had a 6 month kind of itch that I had to scratch. I was lucky that I kind of got back within that world, and got to kind of where I am today. But I always go back to that feeling of, oh shit, this isn't all sunshine and roses. I'm not Ed China, and I'm not going to be Ed China for another kind of 60 years probably. So where I was kind of discussing the adjustable.
Yeah. Where we started.
Yeah, where we started was I always kind of consider myself, and from watching what you do, and I think the first video that I ever watched was of yours was the I think it was making an apron.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You made an apron. I can't remember it now. I know you made an apron. I'm really sorry. I haven't it's been years ago since I watched that. But I remember you made an apron because I was trying leather work. I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago now. And watching where you were, where I was then, and where we both are now, I would consider ourselves as adjustable spanners in the way that we might not. Don't take this the wrong way. We might not be perfect every time for that in particular job, but we have a go at doing everything. I mean, I don't have a go at heart surgery or, trying to fix people's, I don't know, bullet wounds or stab wounds, that type of thing. Don't do that.
But, situation, if you had to, you probably wouldn't mind giving it a go.
Honestly,
it's that adaptability of like, okay, rather than oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm not a, or I'm not a leather worker, or I wouldn't do that.
Totally.
I think that is part of being a maker. Obviously, there's different degrees. There are people who are like, I am a maker and I'm a fine furniture maker. I am a potter.
Yeah.
And that is the thing they identify as.
Yeah, totally. I really appreciate, and I'm sure you're exactly the same. I've discussed this previously with Matt and Rosie in the past. Of I can just sit and talk to somebody that's really passionate about something that they're really good at. Like I've spoken to kind of like glass makers. I've spoken to, even just people who collect stamps or collect coins or something. I've got no real interest in that. But hearing and listening to people that are really, really passionate and really knowledgeable about what they do, I could just do it. Be really engrossed in there's that certain type of people that all they do, for example, is make saddles for horses or make belts. Just because I've been watching and speaking to a lot of leatherworking people at the minute. But I find it genuinely really, really fascinating, to be in the presence of someone who's really passionate about something that I know nothing about. And people,
it's
likewise,
Yeah, but it is so fascinating to find, because I've got a job that everyone kind of knows what you do more or less. So my wife hates this, but whenever we go to weddings, I always pretend I'm something else because inevitably there's a load of other doctors there. What do you do? Oh, I do ICU. Oh, what level are you at? Oh, okay, great. What do you do? Rheumatology. Oh, how fun. And you do a little bit of pointless work chat and then move on. It's much more fun to pretend that you're a falconer or a blacksmith or something that you like. I've done blacksmith enough times and I know enough blacksmith friends now that people tend to believe me. And then they kind of look like, your arm's not that big. Like, oh, yes, well, actually, there's a lot of equipment involved and power hammers. And yeah. But it is so interesting to speak to those people with jobs that, as interesting as accountancy might be, it's the weird, it's the like obsessives. But if you've been an accountant for 60 years, we're in a really niche area, like, oh yeah, you know what I do? I'm an accountant for shipping, for a shipping company. Like, you will find something of interest.
Oh yeah.
Not for long, maybe, but there will be something interesting.
Yeah, I mean, accountant. I know a few accountants, and thank God they exist. That's all I will say. But yeah, I can't imagine going for a pint with them with the accountants that I do know. But
maybe a tasting glass. A very small one.
Yeah, like a German shot, not a Stein. We don't want a big Stein.
No, not
just a little Stein there. But having said that, I mean, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So I lived on a boat, and that community was like absolutely phenomenal. Like I would live next to a bank manager, and a few doors down was like a mechanic. A few doors down was a kitchen fitter, and all that type of thing. And that taught me a lot. And that was when I joined Instagram. It kind of gave me that same kind of vibe. People that I follow, and you kind of, it doesn't matter what you do in our circle. I know that sounds really daft, and I'm not going to name names or whatever, but there are certain people that are eye-wateringly creative, far more creative and arty-farty than what I am. And, oh, what do you do? Well, I'm it doesn't matter what they do. But what they do is not what you expect with what they actually produce and make in their own time. So yeah, I do agree with that. And sorry to any accountant out there that's, you know, like Banksy's probably an accountant, you know.
Yeah.
Just because I get these
Just what he
things
does in his
so
spare time.
wrong.
Yeah.
No, exactly. No, exactly. But I mean, me, Matt, and Rosie have discussed this many, many a times. We get other people. I feel I'm making a very, very broad judgment, but if you are kind of that makery creative type people, we get other people, but other people don't usually get us. I know that sounds a bit weird, but have you got any?
Oh no, I fully get it. So I've known quite a few people in the maker community for a while, and I got married last September, and so I invited some of them along who are close friends.
Yeah.
And there was this sort of hushed whisper going on for most of the morning about who are the makers, and eventually someone would go up to the group and say, "Are you one of those makers?" And they're like, "Yeah." It's like, What is a maker?
Oh,
what do you do? What do you make? And it's one of the hardest questions, particularly for kind of adjustable spanners like us. What do you make? And I said to people at work today, "Oh, I'm going to try and leave on time. I've got a podcast." And they're like, "Oh yeah, you make stuff. What do you make?" Like, oh god, I hate this question.
Yeah,
because I can never answer it. I'm sure like the easy answer is, "Hey, here's my Instagram. Do you want to have a look at it?" But what do you make? And there's a bit like you're saying, like there are people who are definitively one thing.
Yeah.
But also it's also interesting to think like, what do other people see you as? Because I think in for a long time I was, oh yeah, he's a maker. Oh, he makes beer.
Yeah.
That's the like, oh yeah, that's the like the hook.
Yeah.
You go, oh yeah, I remember him that. You know, he brought some homebrew to that thing, or yeah, I asked him about this thing. You know, and
yeah.
You know, what is, I guess, do you have a thing that you would say, oh yeah, people always say I am the something, I am the, you know.
Ooh, I really I don't think I do. My YouTube channel is completely propped up by about 2 or 3 videos, I feel. I have fallen out of love with YouTube to a certain degree, as I know it shouldn't bother you, but you get a lot of negativity of, you know, keyboard warriors and trolls, whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't, I'm not going to say it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't not bother me as well at the same time, because you kind of think, well, I do videos and I make things for myself, and I like to share that with people. And, you know, when you get kind of people from, you know, turn around and say, why don't you share the CAD files to that? And it's like, well, I spent 4 weeks kind of making it, spending a lot of money, and it's something for me. I don't really want to sell it. I don't sell things particularly. I just don't. That kind of pissed me off. And you'd get people who would only watch your videos to kind of not nick your ideas. If I didn't want people to nick my ideas, I won't put it on the internet. You know, it's not about that. But circling back around to your question is, I don't know. I really don't think, because I flutter from one thing in between to another. You know, my professional job is a bit of design and doing creative things for industrial environments and kind of, you know, that's my background of, I don't know, manufacturing within industry of mainly fabrication and sheet metal and designy stuff and that type of thing. Whereas in my world, I'll do anything, as you know, from, you know, leather working badly to machining things badly to restoring things badly to crocheting badly. You know, just a little bit of everything. I've always been a Dolly Mix type bloke. And dare I say, you're probably a little bit like that yourself as well?
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess maybe the other way to think of it is, if you had to do a seminar, or, you know, right, you got 2 hours, you're going to be talking about something.
Yeah.
What is the thing you fall back to? And I guess maybe for you, it's, oh yeah, actually, I've done lots of projects that I don't think of them as projects. It's just a thing as part of what I do, of, you know, laser cut sheet metal.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, oh yeah, I could talk about that for, you know, half an hour.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, maybe, you know, I don't see myself as the guy who brews a lot of beer. Admittedly, it's in my name, and, you know, it's an easy thing to think of.
Yeah.
But no one ever says, oh yeah, you're the guy that makes jewelry.
Yeah.
You know, even if people have just found my account at the time when that was the thing I was doing, or, you're the guy that likes to restore old dental equipment.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like weird little things like that. Because I think people kind of look through and go, right, I need to categorize this person in some way.
Yeah.
And as you get to know them more, you're like, oh, if I think of like a big YouTuber, think of, I don't know, Bob from I Like to Make Stuff. I'm like, what does Bob do? A bit of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, he does kind of like, oh, he's the guy that does, I don't know, Star Wars related things, because you see 2 or 3 of his videos, and in your mind, that's that guy. Or Jimmy, oh, he's the guy that does sped up videos. That's what people always think of. Actually, no, he does loads of different things. Sped up videos is not him.
No,
it's just it's a way to kind of go, oh, this is what's written on the door to your makery life, but it's nothing to do. It doesn't sum up everything that's inside.
No, that is a really good point, and I'm going to bounce this back off you. So if you were to stand up and do a presentation, conference, whatever you want to call it, for 2 hours, what would be your subject?
Beer,
yeah,
I think. Beer. And weirdly enough, because I don't have to think. So I've been asked to do a couple of things like that before. The Virtually Crafty, Jamie Page, or JP Woodwork, I think, on Instagram, does this thing every few months, and you do a live stream. And the first one, I thought, God, I don't know anything about. I couldn't talk about anything, because obviously a lot of the people are like predominantly wood turner, or they do resin.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know what I can talk about. And beer for me ticked the box of, I know enough about it. I don't really have to sit down and research it. Most other people don't know enough about it that they'll understand or believe what I say enough to be interested. Not to go, well, actually, I think that a higher sparge temperature is a better way to brew. I'm not going to be having that conversation. I'm going to be having, oh, what grain do you use? What are hops? Yeah. Interesting kind of intro just to pique people's interest. So I think that is what most people know me for, and that's probably what I would talk about. But if I had a choice, unlimited preparation time, I might do, at the moment, I don't know, part of me thinks maybe something along the lines of not restoration, but how to kind of hack a machine to work in a home shop. I did a video on how to get like 3-phase tools to work in your home shop, because it was such a mystery. And anyone who's been on eBay or industrial auctions, which I spend far too much of my time doing, knows that, 3-phase, why is that so cheap? Because the most expensive machines are lathes. It's either a watchmaker's lathe that's tiny, or it's this will fit in my home shop and run on single-phase power.
And Myford.
Go much bigger. Yeah, they're cheaper.
Exactly.
Go hobby in the middle. They're a bit cheaper, but you'll see. Totally. 24-inch throw lathe, only £1,000. Will load onto transport, something ridiculous like that.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely bonkers. And I kind of, if I had more room, I think I would do that. But I do. I must admit, I look around my workshop and I'm really, you get to a point where I've gotten kind of that point that I'm really happy with what I've got, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I can't stop looking for more stuff. It's like I sold my Boxwood Shaper not that long ago, before Christmas time, something like that. And I keep looking at another one because I miss having it. I didn't use it. It was a project, but I've had a few Shapers now. But they're not a lot of money, and you just kind of think, before you know it, you won't be able to get one, because people like A-Bomb and Duresta and all these people have made it really popular in the States. And I think, as I'm not going to say this as a community, but I think we like to indulge in that. Into the American type stuff a little bit, and we do kind of copy trends a little bit, and I'm sure it is vice versa as well. So I think at one point nobody wanted a Shaper because nobody knew how to actually use one, and there were there were nothing. I mean, I remember a few years ago when I bought my hand top Cowles Shaper, I paid 40 quid for it. 40 quid. And I sold it for 500. Bonkers, absolutely bonkers.
I was looking through my Instagram today. I saw there's a really good tool shop that's now not closed, but they've their premises isn't open. They kind of semi-retire.
Right.
And I saw a picture of the same thing, a hand cowl shaper.
Yeah.
And they were like, shaper, unknown maker, 120 quid. And I think at the time I thought, I don't need one. Oh, do I want it?
Yeah.
But I think that feeling kind of, you talked about always looking for the next thing. I think it's either something that's inherently human or it's a very maker trait. It's kind of process optimization.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I can do this, but you know what? Oh, I bet if I just tweak this,
For sure.
I can make it a bit better. And I think a lot of us have that idea. And then you think, well, you know what? I think I do this a lot. Why don't I just try and improve this a bit?
Yeah.
I'll just make it a bit better. And, feature creep sets in and suddenly I made it a bit better. Is it's 2 a.m. and you're looking on Japanese eBay for an obscure machine tool. And you go, oh god! Oh, wake up! Oh no! I've done it again. I've got hyper focused.
Yeah, or buying really knackered milling machines. That it's been an absolute nightmare, that machine. But no, I would say that you've got. I've got a lot of single phase stuff. I've got some my wood turning laser, all VFD drive now, which your video helped me massively. So thank you very much.
Oh.
But yeah, you've got, I'd say, more industrial level kind of, especially woodworking side. I mean, your sanders that you've got, your big bandsaw.
Yeah.
I would say, I know this sounds bad, right? This does sound bad, but there seems to be an age gap. Oh, this is going to get me in loads of trouble. There seems to be an age gap between either our kind of similar age, I don't know, mid-30s to 20 odd, that are suddenly like, we really want the old stuff. Like, I want the old cool shit. Effectively, it looks old. And then there's that kind of, I don't know, maybe around that 50-odd kind of age that maybe they don't want the stress and the hassle of buying a used machine. And, I just want to plug it in. I'm getting on a bit. I can't be asked to lift heavy things and dick around with things. I want to go to Axminster or somewhere and buy a brand new bandsaw or a brand new lathe. And that to me is really bonkers. That age group would rather, and I'm not saying this is for everybody, I'm saying there's certain select for you, but this is kind of what I see on Instagram.
Yeah, kind of the average.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't not everyone, just if you averaged it all together, where do you end up? I'm sure there's a fancy term for it. Like the Socratic mean or something, or somebody like a Greek philosopher average. It doesn't mean a Platonic ideal.
Okay.
Fancy term doesn't mean the best. It just means the most average. If you average everything in the middle, so your Platonic ideal, I just want something, and the phrase I normally get is, I just want something that works.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know what that means. You want to go to Yandles or Axminster or whatever, and I want a tool that will cut things for my lathe, and that's all it needs to do because I'm happy with what I do, and I want it to be process optimized for just work.
Yeah, and to be honest, it does. It does exactly as it does on the tin. I just feel it doesn't give me the tinglies. But what I don't is when those select people, look at my workshop and say it's full of old shit. I have had that. I have genuinely had people that have come into my workshop, see my Instagram, and it's like, why don't you sell like most of it and buy like 2 really good ones of those? I'm like, no, you don't get it. I'm not going to say this, but I used to live next to somebody who was just like this. And if it wasn't brand new and it didn't come in a cardboard box, it wasn't to his standard. And that's fine. I think that's the important thing, that people do kind of, I don't know, I'm not going to say snobbery, but there is kind of a mine's better than yours mentality to a degree. And I just think we need to get rid of that. I don't think it matters where it was made as such. How much it was. If it's the most expensive, you're only as good as your hands, aren't you? Really, I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, and I suppose machinists or people who have machine tools, this is kind of very apparent. It's, like you can't do that on that. I was like, well, I'm not trying to make high precision parts. What do I want to mill for? Yeah, because I want to cut metal into shapes. I could do it with a Dremel. Just take me all day. Yeah. If you do want to do that precision thing, yes, I agree. You might need something with air bearings and this and that and a microscope. And I want to, I'm a maker. I am an adjustable spanner. I just want something that will get me most of the way there.
Yeah. No, totally. One of my mentors is in my apprenticeship. He once said to me, "You know what all engineering is, Jim?" Is what he used to go. You know what all engineering is? It's taking away the bits of metal from another bit of metal, but doing it in the right way and taking away the right amount, or the not too much and not too, And that kind of analogy, it just kind of stuck with me, similar to the adjustable spanner thing. But yeah, that's all anything ever is, isn't it? We're just taking away bits that we don't want to make it into something that we do actually want.
Although you've just immediately angered all the 3D printing people.
Oh, no.
Oh, additive manufacturing.
Oh, don't. It's a division of them in work, and it's just mind-boggling. And don't. But yeah, you are absolutely right. Yeah, they're amazing, though, aren't they? I mean, what?
I can't believe. Oh, yeah, that these exist.
Yeah,
I do feel that this is going to be the why are you amazed by that? Everyone has access to a 3D printer. I can remember buying myself an Ultimaker as you've just graduated. This is a present for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to spend some money on it and I'm going to have it for ages. And I still do. It's just over there. For those who are in the podcast, I pointed in a direction of where it is. That's the added audio description.
Yeah.
And I remember getting it and I was like, I'll just make some little models. But over the years, the number of things I've made that are just useful, it's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And because people say to you, what do you make? Oh, what do you 3D print? Oh, I don't really make models, but I do have a 3-divider cutlery thing. But I have big spoons and little spoons, so I needed 4, so I just printed a 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we've got a loft hatch that's the kind of the loop to pull it down broke.
Yeah,
I just made one.
Yeah, no, totally get that. Absolutely. I think the best thing I've ever done on a 3D printer, that sounds really bad. This was before that we had a fancy espresso machine, and I'll get onto coffee. And I want to talk about your gripe in a little bit.
Oh yeah,
because I'm a big fan of James Hoffman as well. So, but before we get onto that,
okay, I'll keep it in the idea fridge over here
in the little door there. I can't remember what I was talking about now. What was I about to say?
3D printing coffee.
Yeah, 3D printing. So we bought a Tassimo, right? And we only had it for about 6 months. And it was, they're like 30 quid. I think the Bosch Tassimo, you come with these like little plastic. Looking back now, I just hated the plastic little tub things that you got, like a diarrhea in a cup that was hinted with saccharin type thing. And these, whoever designed these little plastic things, they weren't shooting, because they're really, really cumbersome. They're like an oval shape. They can't stack very well. So it's like, all right, I'm going to get my 3D printer and I'm going to design and make these to fit in a cylindrical tube. And it was just brilliant. I was like, this makes it so much better. And then you realise, I've stored this amazingly now, but I absolutely hate the coffee. We ended up.
It's process optimization again.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you don't like the process, but I made it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get. I mean, how long have you had your 3D printer? I mean, they're Ultimator the maker.
So I got an Ultimaker 2 in 2015, and then I upgraded it. Probably a year and a bit later, because if I can make it better, I can, and I should.
And you will.
So I put it was one of my first videos, actually. I put a different extruder motor on it. And then it kind of, I've now fixed it, but what I did is I changed the setting and it just didn't work, and it really annoyed me. So I just left it and found something else I could focus on.
Yeah.
But I picked it up again. But in the interim, I bought a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K, which is a resin printer, under the pretense of jewelry making.
Yes, yeah. So didn't you make your wedding rings?
I did. So I made my wife's engagement ring, and I made both of our wedding bands.
Awesome.
Yeah, my one took me 20 minutes on the lathe. It's made out of patterned steel, or Damascus.
Yeah,
it's. Probably doesn't focus. Again, this is a brilliant segment for the audio listeners.
Yeah,
but it is a stainless steel band, And I did that because I thought it looks a little bit like wood grain and it's made of metal, and I quite like that as a visual joke.
Yeah.
And so that's what I went out. But my wife's, I did a plain gold band for the wedding ring, but then I 3D printed in a castable resin.
Yeah.
So I did a CAD model based around some stones that I bought, did many iterations of this, which is a story in itself. But to cut it short, I 3D printed a castable resin version of the where the metal was going to go, cast it, and so it's like a lost wax casting. And then taught myself to.
That is amazing. How many people, do that? I know it's not that uncommon. I know people have done it. And Rosie's making rings at the minute, so it would have been great if she was here.
Yeah, I've seen.
And they look really, really good. But fair play to you. I mean, and before that, your knowledge of jewelry making and
I've made three. Well, I've made 3 rings in theory.
Okay.
The engagement ring I've made about 7 times, so I was quite good at it by the end. But it was, I don't know if you or any of the listeners know Superfast Matt, who is a guy who's put a motorbike engine in a Honda S500, like a kind of classic Honda. He's put a Tesla running gear with not a Mark III Jag, one of the earlier Jags, like
XJ
1920s, like with the big rolling fender arches.
Okay.
Like in the era of coach-built cars, almost.
Yeah, proper jobs. Yeah,
he's done that, and he's got a brilliantly sarcastic British sense of humour. And so his last video is how to make a dry sump for a motorbike engine cheaper at a fraction of the cost of something else. I won't spoil the joke, but essentially it's the same problem of I could just buy one, but if I spend an extra X amount of pounds more, I could make one badly.
Yeah.
And that's the fun.
It is. It really, really is. No, I can relate to that. Yeah, I could go out and buy one, or I can have a headache. But it's the figuring it out, which for sure.
As much as I hate it at the time, it's not getting it done that I enjoy. I actually quite dislike finishing projects. I felt there's almost like a void at the end. If you're into the kind of the personality tests, you're either a starter or a finisher.
Yeah.
And I love starting projects. And then when I get to the end, it's like, oh, well, that's done.
For sure.
Oh, well.
Now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where is my love and adoration of well done, you've completed it? It's just, oh, okay, done. Oh, look, something over there that's shiny. And then I'm off again. Or more likely covered in rust and oil rather than shining.
Yeah, I can relate that. And especially with new hobby, talking about the next shiny thing. There's certain things I'd love to have a go at. Love to have a go. Glass making. I am mesmerized by glass making. And I've just got into leatherworking, which I'm going to say I'm stitching things. I can't do hand stuff. I've got really shite hands. And I find it very strenuous on my hands. So that's why I've got a Patcher sewing machine that I enjoy playing with and doing things that other people aren't doing with it. But yeah, where I was going with this, the next shiny thing, I've got to a point now where I've filled up pretty much every space in my house and my workshop where I have to argue with myself and basically say, no more. No, I've done airsofting that I'd no longer play, and I've got still loads of kit I can't get rid of. There's very few hobbies that I start and don't kind of continue with, if that makes sense. So I will circle back round. I love wood turning. That's my summer hobby, and leatherworking is going to be my winter hobby, and blacksmithing a little bit, and turning when I need something. How do you find that itch? Because your workshop's got a lot of kit in it now.
Lots of obscure unitasking machines.
Yeah. So because I think, again, you're a bit like me in the sense that I want to have a go at that, but I'm not going to, just do a little bit or do like a day taster course. I'm going to buy the right kit. I don't want to dick around, because if you buy the cheap, shitey kit, it puts you off to a certain degree. It doesn't give you that feeling.
Oh, hugely.
Yeah.
The analogy I always think of is that I was not, I played sports at school. I was not a really sporty person. I have no real interest in following professional sports. but it's my one sports analogy. Buying something that's kind of a beginner kit is the equivalent of like, why is it that the first team, the A team, get the best coach? They're already good. Yeah. Surely you give the best coach to the worst people, and you end up with the most average team. Yeah. Obviously, I understand the reason, but that's like I guess it's part of the reason that people say, go and do a course, because you at least get access to that. I much prefer, and I'm lucky enough to, at this stage of my life, and part of the reason I do this is that I know that I won't be in this, I can afford to buy a random thing in Leicestershire and go off on a whatever day I have off and pick it up.
Yeah, for sure.
But there was a point to that story. But I know that it's worthwhile investing in something that is going to make your life, your makery life, easier.
For sure.
Because if I we all have limited time. Everyone does. If you go out and you're annoyed and frustrated by the thing that you do, a pottery wheel. If you get a cheap pottery wheel from Amazon that is constantly difficult, it's going to sit on a shelf most of the time until you're forced to make something, and then you won't really enjoy it, and then you'll leave it there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you said that. There's certain things like, I'm going to go back to the leatherwork. Sorry, Jen. This is just what I'm doing at the minute, so I'm just relating to this as like.
No, it's your analogy. It's easiest.
My most recent kind of thing. The basic leatherworking kit that you can buy online is pretty good. It does a job, but that's for leatherworking. You're basically bashing holes in the side of a cow skin. If I went and I've done this and I've bought a Chinese milling machine, granted it was used. Fucking hate using that machine. I really hate using that machine. And other people who've got them love them. They absolutely love them. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I know we've mentioned this in the past. It gives me no joy in using that machine because it's clunky. It feels bad. It's the gear meshing in the top. It's just like you can hear every tooth slapping into the next one. It's nothing.
I mean, there's something to be said for, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
I want to die. I would just want to get a kit to see if I like it. But I think at least, again, it's a kind of recurring theme that lots of makers I know, they call it hyperfixation, that you go, oh yes, I can tell you the top 10 different things to get. I can tell you the best 15 lathes produced in 1938.
Yeah.
What have you got? Oh, I haven't got one. I've just got really interested in learning about it. And I think that's the difference that, I think Adam Savage has said, buy everything cheaply.
Yeah.
And then if you find you use it again, go and spend some money on it, which I think is a pretty reasonable thing.
Absolutely.
I find myself making these sweeping statements and I was thinking, only the Sith deal in absolutes. So feel free to fully ignore me on this. But, I know what if I'm far enough down the rabbit hole to have investigated enough to go, right, this is the good one, this is the cheap one, this is the cheap enough good one in the middle. That's normally where I start.
Absolutely. So what's your next shiny thing, or is there going to be another shiny thing, or are you happy with what you're doing, or what's something you'd really like to kind of dance with next?
It's hard because I'm already doing something. I don't know if I can cheat and say that. So again, something people like David Picciuto talked about, like, it's nice to have something that you do that's creative or makery that you don't share.
Yeah.
And I thought, I get that. I don't really have anything, but I guess, professionally, obviously it makes a big difference if you're having to create a video. I don't, so I don't care that much.
Yeah.
But recently, I've always liked photography, video making and kind of visual things, because I'm not good at drawing.
Yeah.
As much as the people at work, you're doing a design degree. I'm like, no, it doesn't mean I can draw. It means I think about how things work. That's what a design is.
Yes.
It's not art.
Yes.
And I liked photography because it's like, you can produce something nice by just thinking a little bit about what it looks like and take a picture. Which is a long way to say that my current thing that I've not really shared a lot about until one of my last stories is film photography.
Okay, yeah.
And I think most or many people's parents have film cameras that they've not thrown away, And so quite cheap. I mean, film is expensive
Yeah.
compared to digital, which is free, but it's a fun process. And actually, I did it kind of on a whim. I thought, I've had these cameras sitting on a shelf just because I like them as objects.
Yeah.
I wonder if they still work. I took some photos and they were really nice. There was no, I need to put it in Lightroom or whatever and make it better. It was just nice out of the camera.
Yeah. Well, what was it? I think they're called pinhole cameras.
Oh, yeah,
that you can make. And I was really tempted for a long time and I looked into it kind of half-arsedly. And you watch the odd video and they look really kind of simple to make. It was just a little pinhole camera. I can't explain to the listeners, viewers, whatever, of how they work, because I pure and simply can't remember. But the images that they actually give you is phenomenal. And I think that's another association that people think because it's old, it's no good.
No, they're brilliant,
especially with cameras. So because I saw your you bought a digitalizer, I'm going to call it. So you have
a scanner. Go for scanner.
That would make more sense. Digitalizer. That's a cool word. That word,
a digitalizer.
A digitalizer. Exterminate. Yeah. That looked really good. Like really, really good. It looked like you've got a fancy DSLR and you've just put a black and white kind of thingy on it.
It's a really nice niche that it's just popular enough that you can get bits for it.
Yeah.
But it's not so popular that it's really expensive. So you have to use, again, anyone who's into computers, this will be interesting to you. So please tune out if you aren't for the next 10 seconds. There's an interface that was pre-USB called, I think it's SCSI or SCSI.
Yeah.
And Nikon made the best scanners, outside of obscure drum film scanners that Hasselblad and Heidelberg make. But again, this is a hyperfixation rabbit hole I went down and going, I wonder if I can buy one of those. But there's the Cool Scan 3 is not very expensive on eBay. You just need to install the right type of, like a USB adapter card, but for SCSI, and install an old enough version of something. So that's been my kind of new shiny thing, I suppose, is trying to get obscure old bits of computer hardware to work on not obscure old bits of computer hardware.
No, that makes sense. No, and it's really good. So anyone who's listening, be sure to check that out. Although you're not really sharing anything yet, but I'm sure you will.
No, I can tell, a sneak peek. If anyone wants to look, I've picked a suitably wanky Instagram name for it called Hype Mundane, because I thought that sounded about as hipster as it possibly could be, and Hyper Mundane was already taken. So if you go to hypemundane.com, HYPE Mundane, that's where I've stuck some photos. So if you want to have a look at it.
That is a really interesting, because I will bring you up. I'm sorry if this is just kind of not makery related as such, but I've got Anchor Designs as my main kind of YouTube and Instagram. But I feel now that leatherworking is too far out of the circle, if you know what I mean. I'm a mechanical guy that does a bit of woodworking, wood turning, and metalworking, and I feel they're all kind of go hand in hand in a way, and make a bit of furniture and all that type of thing as well. But leatherworking is a little bit too far. Not that I give a toss about, kind of followers and likes and things like that. But you do notice that if you do put something up a little bit more obscure that people can't kind of think, oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
They kind of become very, very disjointed from it. So where I'm going with this is that I think it would be quite good for me to make up another YouTube channel now that I've done mine for 4 or 5 years, whatever. To do those things. And that's what you've done. So what was the reason for that?
So the reason I did it for photography is mainly that again, like process optimization, I like pretending to be a professional. I have no interest in it, but I just like and I could do this and I could have a website. And I just thought, if I'm going to do photography, you never know, I might want to take someone's photo in the street, and because they've got a really cool look. That's not something I feel I'd actually ever do, but I like to pretend that I might. With my wanky film camera. And then I need to go, here you go, here's my card. And if I give them a Malt And Make thing, they'll be like, you've got pictures of knives that you made. Yeah. Like, oh yes, just keep scrolling, you'll find it eventually. And I just thought it'd be interesting to have a separate entity for that.
No.
Mainly from watching too many Grainy Days videos. And if you're into kind of self-effacing, very dry sense of humor film photography, you already know who Grainy Days is. But if that sounds like it's slightly interesting and you like dogs, or well, he has a dog, go look at Grainy Days. His name's Jason, I think.
That's really cool, and I do get that, and I feel that's where I let myself down. So, for example, we've just done a sticker swap, and I've got a black envelope, and I thought I'll be a bit snazzy, and I'll put a wax seal on it.
A very nice one indeed.
I quite like that. It's quite out of my comfort zone, is that type of thing, and using a fancy gel pen. I've literally got a gel pen, and that's what I do. That's what I stick to. And I was like, that's really nice. And I thought, that's good. And then yours came, and I was like, oh my God, this is a nice experience. You'd pay for something like this. It's got a beautiful envelope. It's got your, the gold pressing.
So hot foil pressed logo and
hot foil press.
Yeah.
Nice little string that's coming round. And I bought a T-shirt that we're both sporting the same T-shirt.
Yeah.
Although granted, mine is a few sizes larger than.
Well, yours is a newer one as well.
Yeah. So
this is I'm wearing the pro again for audio listeners. We're both wearing T-shirts. This is again a mad idea I had that lots of people. It's weird. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I had this like level in my mind of maker notoriety or like subscriber numbers of like, oh yeah, you've got enough. You're allowed to have T-shirts now.
Yeah.
And I thought at some point, like, you know what? I think I've been around long enough. I can probably make T-shirts. Someone might buy one or two.
Yeah.
And because I thought, not many people are going to be interested, I'll make them myself. Yeah. Now I have physically made a T-shirt from cloth and put my logo on it, but I wasn't going to do that. And I thought, I'll just screen print. I've never done screen printing before. How hard can it be? So of course I decided to pick don't pick white to screen print. Don't do it on a dark T-shirt, and don't do metallic, fine designs are the things I was told. I've done all of those. I was
going to say, white and metallic.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
White and metallic gold on a dark background are all very difficult. And don't do more than one color. No. As your first attempt is what people said. So of course I did. I ignored them and thought, I can do this. I'll pretend to be a professional. And so I screen printed them myself. But yeah, that was a terrible idea. If you're really into making yourself, you won't make any money. You'll hate screen printing afterwards because it's hot. I did it in the middle of summer, and you have to like bake these in an oven. It's a terrible idea. Don't do it. Don't buy them. But if you do want one, I've got one or two at least left. That is to say, again, another stupid idea I had that I thought would be more fun rather than buying just to make.
No, I can totally relate. It's really funny that we kind of do similar things in the past. Not that we've kind of both realised, but you just do everything a little bit better than what I do. So I bought some T-shirts.
Obsessively, not better, just obsessively.
Yeah, obsessively. Really good way. So I bought for Christmas a cricket, so a vinyl.
For the cry cut cricket. Yeah,
I don't fucking American.
I have no idea.
No.
Again.
So I bought a cricket for the missus, and she's making cards. She's making amazing things. I'm not making cards. I don't even write cards. I don't even write anymore. I genuinely, I write scribbly notes at work, and that's it. So I thought, this is great. So you can buy like iron-on T-shirts. And I made a few. And when I originally made the Anchor Designs logo, I just went online a logo maker type program. I knew exactly what I wanted, but I haven't got the talent to actually write it. So these logo makers were quite good. But knowing what I know from the industry, I made it one color, 2D, and I can put it on anything. So making a stamp, dead easy. It's all square. It's nice and easy for like a laser machine to cut round the radiuses. It's a small contour and, all this type of thing. Those are the kind of things that I was thinking of. So I'm really, really glad that the cricket, and I could cut out my own logos. But they were for me, and I can't imagine selling people T-shirts or selling things to people. I'm really bad at that. That gives me anxiety because I know I'm not up against, that's not what it's about, but from seeing what you do, and I've bought other T-shirts from other people that are kind of basically screwed up into like a jiffy, the smallest possible jiffy bag, so that it's like 20p cheaper for postage, for example. Look, then there's nothing wrong with that. That's the category that I'm in. I mean, the only thing that was missing from yours is a red carpet and a small little purple fancy velvet cushion.
That's very kind of you, but like we were saying with envelopes and like sticker swaps, you look at. I've looked Brett McAfee from Skull and Spade 13. We do a
captain
within the captain. So within the Fools with Tools group, so the Fools with Tools podcast is a Facebook group, and a few years ago I suggested, why don't we do a Secret Santa? And it's been going a couple of years. It's called the Fools with Tools Treasure Trade, and I think Brett one year was like, I'm going to up my packaging game. He's going to, because he talked about it. You make the thing and then you've got 2 days left. And Amazon box, perfect, straight in that, which is completely fine. Yeah, but every year he's got a bit better, and it's the same with like the envelopes for sticker swaps. All of my first ones were I've still got the same box of Tesco's envelopes, cheapest ones I had. Yeah, and that's how you start off, and then you get somebody who sends you one like, oh, they put a handwritten note in. I just sent the sticker. I thought that was okay. And so you go, okay, well, I'll write a note. So you get Post-it and you write on saying, here's your sticker. Thanks. Yeah. And then someone else goes, thank you so much for supporting me. Oh, God. Yeah. Should I be writing that? And then, because I quite like printing. Again, obscure old things. So I've got an old printing press. I've got a couple, actually. But one of them, not the big one, is a hot foil press. Yeah. And so you can put shiny metal things, and I thought, I bet I could get my logo and put it on some envelopes. That'd be nice, because I did the same thing. I did wax seals before, but I only had a J for James. And I was like, no one. Do I do an M for Malt And Make? Do I do 2 M's? And eventually, it spirals out of control, and then cheap sticker swap that should have cost you, a second class stamp plus a tiny bit of a sticker. You're spending 38 quid on sending an ornate velvet, soaked in, the finest Madagascan vanilla, so that when they open, they go, oh wow, what a lovely smelling sticker. And you think, once again, I've gone too far.
I do get that. I do, and I thought mine was kind of like a decent standard, and it was
really nice. Yeah,
they're nice to everybody else's level, James, but you're making everybody else look bad. So
I think that's the key, isn't it? That's what drives me. Exactly. Like, oh damn, they did that really nicely, and I enjoyed it so much. I have to be better. Bastard. Have to optimize the process even more.
I'll raise you with a custom driver, and I'll brand it. Oh God, yeah. When does it start?
Royal Mail. You don't send yours by DPD. Oh.
Peasants. Yeah, but no, I that's an area that I know I need to kind of improve on, and still the thought of me doing a website and selling T-shirts and kind of dealing with people, and it does genuinely give me anxiety, because I'm not that good at stuff. I've sold things on eBay, and I've sold quite a lot of forgers that I designed and made, and I work off a vacuum cleaner, and all. They were really good, and I've designed and made sharpening jigs, and I don't know, like press brake, all sorts of things that people are like, I would genuinely buy one of those from you, James. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to sell you one, because it gives me stress. And I always think, shit, if I sell it and they don't like it, or there's a burr on something and they cut themselves, or just something like that. I overthink everything, I think, and sometimes I think we're our own biggest critics.
You only ever see the flaws in what you've done. As soon as you make more than one thing, or more than one of the same thing, all you can do is go, oh, that's got a. And I'm looking on a relatively grainy webcam feed of you, and I'm going, is that a spot of white ink, or is it just the natural color of the t-shirt?
No, well,
and I think, oh, should I have looked, or and you're probably not even looking at the same bit. I'm thinking, oh, is that this? And you probably looked at the shirt and go, oh, that's nice. And you sent it in a nice bag, and I got a sticker. Oh, this is really nice. Oh, isn't it soft? I'm going, why didn't I recheck that? It's this mad thing of you can never go, you did a good job. You can't say that. No maker seems to be able to say it to themselves.
No.
It's only, yeah, I finished that project. Yeah, this is what I would have done next time.
Yeah, this is what you should have done, James. Or what I do when you get cocky and you've made like the same thing for the fourth time, you think, I'll just skip that corner because or I can do it this way. I won't use the fancy cutter's radius tile. I'll do it with my scalpel.
Just cut round
it, and then oh no!
Wasn't that a right angle before I did that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's just, I don't know. I think we're all guilty of it. I'm very guilty of cutting corners and getting cocky. But
you just admitted to cutting corners, literally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
with round curved implements,
with very sharp things.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Yeah. I find it even like
it's awful. No one enjoys it.
No.
But it's like everything. It's the phrase practice makes perfect, I think, is a bit suboptimal. Practice makes better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do something a couple of times, like, oh well, I've practiced it, now I'm perfect. No, you just feel a little less guilty about what you're doing. You still see the flaws. What is your frame of reference? Is it, I've been a leather worker for 58 years and I can tell all these things, or is it, I'm accomplished enough to be able to make a finished object? Yeah, but I can still see how I could make it better.
Yeah.
Whereas if your frame of reference is, I own some things that are leather, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're looking at it a completely different way, and all we ever look at is our frame of reference plus where can I be.
Exactly. And I'm, I don't know how, I don't have like a long period of time between commitments. So I've got like work that demands quite a lot of time, and I can't just kind of sneak off and spend, I don't know, 8 hours doing something really important or, some like big project. And I discussed this with Rosie and Matt actually about like what I call short and quick wins, something that I can make on an evening, like a sunglasser case or, a bowl in summer, out of a blank that I've had in a cupboard and it's been seasoned and something like that. But I would struggle to make furniture, although I do make furniture. But if I was to make like a really nice dovetail box, I can't leave that, half done with like 2 hand-cut dovetails. I would find it really difficult to walk away from that. I need to be fully kind of balls deep into this project and make sure it's finished, and then I can walk away. But if I don't do something and I am committed to, for example, doing this podcast or doing work, it's constantly on my mind thinking, I need to do that. I really want to do that. I need to get it done. I need to scratch that itch. What am I doing? I'm so distracted. I can't concentrate. How do you find that? I mean,
so the thing that springs to mind is I get that. And in my mind, I was like, when I kind of first got into the maker community, I think like a lot of people, it was through Adam Savage or Tested.
Yeah.
Then you kind of find out about YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, this is before Instagram. I don't think Instagram existed. Maybe it did. It was not a big thing. Not everyone had an Instagram account. And I remember him saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a prop maker. You hide your crimes. You do this." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not a woodworker. I'm more like a prop maker.
Yeah.
I just need to look good enough. And if I get the project done, I feel great.
Yeah.
And it is that quick win feeling. Luckily, one of my close friends is a prop maker. Prop Shop Berlin. Caro is brilliant.
Wow.
If you're interested in someone who is multi-talented in a way, but equally she always says, "Oh no, I'm just no, I can't do that." She does brilliant work in loads of interesting fields, and is not a kind of a prop maker that you might expect. So if you're like, "Oh yeah, I don't like props. I don't want the Blade Runner gun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't want a lightsaber." Go and look at her stuff, because it's a really interesting idea of like, oh, actually, this is making, oh, I never thought to do that. So Carrie Hints from Prop Shop Berlin. So anyway, the point I was trying to get to is that I always thought of like, I'm a bit like a prop maker. Just need to look good enough.
Yeah. And
then recently I have started building a woodworking table. I suppose it's like a rolling workbench from a set of plans I bought from a video 6 years ago, probably.
Right.
And I'd had these plans forever. Partly I bought them thinking, oh, it'd be nice to support him. He's done a really interesting design. He's clearly put lots of effort into it. I've watched this video and was really inspired by it. You know what? He's not a big YouTube person. I'll buy his plans. They're £5.
Yeah, I've done that.
And and one day I thought, you know what? I've had that for ages. I would like that. I like the idea. It's a little bit mechanical. It's got a lifting thing. It's got some Festool MFT type layout on top for and then you can twist it and it can become a like a drying rack. I thought, you know what? I do loads of projects where I can kind of just start and get most of it done in the time I have within a week, within the time my mind has to be interested in it.
Yeah.
Why don't I do something that will take me a long time? It's not particularly complicated. It's not like, oh, I'm going to learn a new skill. It's cutting plywood into shapes and putting them together. And it's really useful. I've heard people say, oh, yeah, go and make more than one of the same thing. It's a great exercise.
Yeah.
Go and copy something. It's a really good exercise. And I think making something that you get no instant gratification from is really useful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And things like my milling machine that I've got is a massive, like it's a really, really big project. I enjoy that because it's big enough to be able to break down into spindle, table, hand scraping, body work, as I'm going to call it, filling in the castings and making it pretty and flattening and sanding, doing that. That is, I like the long projects. I really do. And I always have at least 2 or 3 that I'm working on and do work on. One thing I would say about myself, I'm quite good at finishing things. A lot of people, kind of aren't or whatever and kind of finish a restoration and don't. There's things that I have started and I haven't finished, for sure, like there is with many people. I'm quite good on that front. I don't know. I totally agree with what you're saying. It's what I struggle with is kind of something that, how do I word it? Like a box, for example, a wooden box, a jewelry box or something like that it needs joinery, it needs hand finishing, it needs that kind of love and attention. You can't kind of put it away, something like that, because you need all the tools. You need the scrapers, you need your chisels, you need your mallet. So your workshop gets just plastered in just all your tools and you can't do anything else. And then you come in and you need to do a job and then it's a mess. And then that really, really upsets me. And it's the same with like people at Hand Tool Rescue, that you see their workshop and it really kind of, my fingernails are being lifted up when I see it. But it works for him, and it's not a bad thing at all. For those that don't know, it's a very, very messy workshop. I mean, it really is eye-wateringly messy.
The sawdust soaks up the oil. And, it's this revolving thing. And Eric is a really interesting guy to chat to.
Yeah, I met him at
trying to get inside his head.
Yeah, I met him at the 2019. What do you call it?
Maker Central.
Yes, and it was really, really good, and he was really nice to chat to. It was good. Sorry, James, you need to kind of shoot off for 2 seconds, so I will pause this.
We will pause the recording, and then should we get into Maker Central and then coffee?
Maker Central and then the Brop.
The Bripe.
That's the one.
The Bripe. We're not. No, I'm going to. Yes.
Coffee.
We'll be back in literally now for you guys.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
We're back from that no wait at all that you just had. Maker Central. So we were just talking about 2019 was amazing. It was the first time I've kind of been around people, and it was actually leather working because they had a Tandy stand there, the Tandy leather. And I went there and they didn't really have any prices on anything. And or I don't think they had price stickers on. I can't remember now. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy a load of this kit. Went there and it was like, yeah, that'll be £120, please. Oh, no, there's 3 things. Am I paying for his guy? Well, being a proud Englishman, you're like, yes, of course I knew that was going to be priced.
That's quite a good price, actually. Should we round it up? Like, oh God, shut up!
Oh God, I'm so poor now. So you just have to buy it and then walk away and then just crying like stupid person. Anyone want to
Yeah,
bang
cry until you forget.
leather tools? Get your leather tools.
You know what, though? If I make something with this, I could sell it and make my money back 2 years later. No, I'm fine. I've forgotten.
Yes. Did you go to the 2018 one? Were you at the?
I did.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Was that the first one they ever did? Was it 2018?
It was. So they've done two. So 2018 was the first one, and it was a weird experience in a way, because you trying to explain I have internet friends does sound a little bit like, oh no, my girlfriend, she lives in Canada, and she is real. And so trying to explain to, like, flesh friends. Flesh friends is probably a different type of thing. Don't Google
flesh friends.
Yeah. But people who I see day to day, rather than people on the internet, you're like, oh yeah, I've got these friends on the internet, and I'm like, really? Meeting them in real life, the first time you see someone, anyone listening to this probably has had this thought, like, do you shake their hand? And immediately you kind of look at each other and you're like, oh, no, hug is the correct, like, we know each other, we've spoken loads, but I've never met you. So it's a very weird interaction lots of times, and they're kind of, everyone in the community is a little bit introverted in some way or has a degree of social anxiety, so meet everyone in one room, like, how do I greet this? What is the etiquette for greeting someone I met on the internet?
You know what?
It's
totally. I got to Maker Central. I couldn't think of the name there really, really quickly, and I think it was like one of the first ones in because I was like a little fangirl, and I walked straight over to the Hikoki. They had a bus. I think it was Hitachi at the time, or Hikoki, the power tools.
Yeah, they were just changing. Yeah, the green ones. Anyway.
Yeah, that was it. And Laura Camp was there. It's like, oh my god, that's fucking Laura Camp. Jesus. So I went to her and I was like, hi. And she was like, oh hey, and then fucking hug you.
Hey. Oh. Yeah.
I was like, oh god, Laura Camp has just hugged me. I was like, can I take a picture? I'm like, like sweating already. I've been in here 5 minutes. I just walked straight over to the giant boss. But no, it was amazing. So what I was going to ask you is, how did you find like 2018? Because I never went to 2019. And I'm sure there'll be listeners here that haven't been to 2019, and this year might be their first show. I imagine it's going to be a lot bigger, and it was already big 2019. Yeah,
it was something that it was not difficult for me to get to relative to a lot of the people who went.
Yeah.
I had the time off work. I could afford to stay in a hotel. It was easy to drive there in a car that I have.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like relatively easy to do, but still mentally, I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
Is there going to be anyone there? Are people going to think I'm weird? What am I going to do during the day? What if I get bored? And actually, yeah, exactly. Like, is it weird to wear a Maker t-shirt? Is it weird to wear someone's t-shirt who's going to be there?
Yeah, I thought.
And all of these, but all of these fears are exactly what everyone. So if you've not been and you're even thinking of going, even if you just go for a day, the worst that you're going to do is wander around, have a look at some interesting tool things, maybe like see someone that you know, and it's all right. But almost certainly you're going to have a much better time because it is kind of a trade show, very loosely. There are sponsors who help the event run, and they have a stand. Really, it's an excuse to meet people that you've talked to online.
Exactly.
And invariably, there will be two things. One, you will feel embarrassed going to talk to someone that you've never met in real life, and they will be delighted to meet you and probably really excited and equally nervous. And there's probably going to be the opposite, that there's going to be someone there who wants to meet you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is that Al? Is that Al from Al's Hack Show? I don't know. Unless your face is on your Instagram, which for most people it's not, it's their logo.
No.
I remember thinking, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a spreadsheet, because I'm the sort of person that many problems can be solved with a spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have someone's name on Instagram, what I think their real name is, one thing that they do, a photo from their Instagram, and I was like, look, you're overthinking this, but it would have been really nice to be able to go, oh yes, you are John from John Makes Things, and you made a would thing. But no, you run into this like, oh, I'm really sorry, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I go, oh, I'm this person. You go, oh, is that what you look like? Oh, like you've done this thing, and you suddenly remember, and it's this really nice.
Yeah.
It is so worthwhile going. It's not about it's not about the show. It's about meeting people and people being interested in what you do, and you all having kind of the same experience of feeling a bit nervous about wanting to go and thinking, oh, should I go? Getting there, all of that tension releases, and it's brilliant.
No, definitely. Because I went on my own, so I don't have friends in real life. It's really funny. I just don't. So when I went, I was like, oh, that is actually you. You're the yeah. So I totally get that. I totally get that, and it was really good. Like for meeting people that you never would ever meet in the UK. So I met like Eric from Hunt or Rescue, and I met Bob. Bob was a really nice person.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Laura,
and all these people are there's no, because in your mind you're like, oh, it's like insert well-known celebrity.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa. They will not be interested in who I am, and I will just be another person that they met.
Yeah.
It's not. It's, oh, okay, tell me about what you do.
Yeah.
And they want to have a conversation. I've not met anyone, including the people who are kind of flown over as brand sponsors for Triton or whoever.
Yeah.
They're all very, and like there was a queue to meet them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
They're all really nice, and everyone hangs out at the bar afterwards.
Yeah.
And you can just go up and you say, oh, hi, I just want to say hello and say I like your videos. I think I did that to Jacko from Jacko whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I know you. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're thinking of someone else. Like, oh no, you sent me a message once. I'm like, I did send you a message.
Yes.
I sent you, this is cool, to your video, and you remembered me. And I was like, they do. Like people are like, oh yeah, I recognize you from the comments on my video. Like I like your logo. It's a really cool experience.
I must admit, I would much rather. I don't know. This sounds really corny. I'd much rather meet someone like that than I would, I don't know, like Mark Hamill or something, just to say that I've met Mark Hamill. I'd love to meet Mark Hamill, but I'm sure he gets a lot of people that want to meet Mark Hamill, and it's like, oh, it's Mark Hamill.
I watched Star Wars once. I mean, twice. I mean, like about 30.
I love Star Wars. I'm just a bumbling mess. But no, as you rightfully said, you see Eric from Hunt or Rescue. It's like, hi, you're Eric from Malt And Make. It's like, yes, I am. Great to meet you. I love what you do. That's great. Have you got one of your little wrenches? Although it's not a wrench, it's an adjustable spanner from Abingdon Works of Birmingham. But anyway, have you got one? Yes, I have. So I will buy one. Okay, thank you. Can I have a picture? Yes, here's a sticker. Oh my God, that was amazing. I'll walk away now. They're just nice people.
They are. Everyone is very nice, and I think because everyone has that same, no matter how many subscribers you have or how long the queue of people might be to meet you, everyone is still that, why am I fit? Why are people interested in meeting me?
Just doesn't matter.
I just fiddle with stuff in my shed in the don't laugh. I know there's been minimal laughing. Hold it together. Okay. Exactly. Everyone is in that same
Absolutely.
Moment. Again, it's just your frame of reference is, oh, I've got 1 million versus 2 million. Oh God, that's Bobby Duke. I'm like, I had no idea who Bobby Duke was. I met him in the Hilton bar, and he was like, oh, hello, my name's Bobby. I'm like, oh, hello, nice to meet you. And someone after was like, oh my God, you've met Bobby Duke.
Wooed.
And I quickly looked him up and was like, oh, wooed. Oh, this guy's fun.
Yeah.
2 points. Something. Oh, okay, maybe I should have been. But yeah. Everyone is expecting that you don't really know who they are.
Yeah, so I must have, it's quite funny because we, work-wise, we have an exhibition at the NEC. So I know, like, the hotel, back of my hand, the bit with a little lake around it. And, at the time, in 2019, I lived in Loughborough, where my houseboat was. So it was only, like, down the M42. So it was, like, 40 minutes away. And now I've gone back up north. I'm still going to just drive it. I'm not going to do the hotel thing. But I kind of, a part of me thinks, well, that's when you get to meet people, so to speak. But
I would say if you change your mind, there will be someone's floor that you can sleep on.
Yeah, that's
Like that was the overwhelming. Loads of people I know like, oh, just stay in my car. Like, what do you mean? Just I've got a sofa. Like it doesn't fold out into a bed. Just stay there. Or you can. Everyone is really welcoming. I had 3 or 4 people who I'd never met. They're like, oh yeah, do you know Tim? Like, no. Oh, he's really great. He's sleeping on my floor. Oh, okay. Do you know each other? No. Like we do now, but
yeah, I don't know. But this year, me, Rosie, and Matt were on about. They're doing I want to call it like the Market Street or something. The Maker Central. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
But you can have like a small stand,
a
little booth for like 250 quid, and I'm like, that's not a lot of money to kind of be part of something great, and then it's only ever going to get bigger. So you kind of think, do it now, but I don't think Matt and Rosie and me, I don't know, we're not kind of decided yet, but it's not a lot of money, but then you kind of think, oh, we've all got to make like cards and t-shirts and things, because I think the whole idea of it is, well, for me would be have a load of t-shirts, try and sell it and all that type of thing and how it works, and then you'll pay for itself for going, if that makes sense. But I think for people who haven't been, I don't think Matt and Rosie has been before. So I think they're probably thinking, well, let's try it. And maybe 2023, if they do one, then it might be a better time. But I would love to have a little stand there. I don't know.
Why don't, so one of the years at least, the Makers International, which is a podcast that's not kind of running evermore, it's been replaced by Makers Waffle. It's kind of like a Sunday evening, just chat, and it's YouTube live comment thing. They did a live version of their podcast in the hotel bar.
That's cool.
It's free. It gets you a bit of, like, oh, who are they? Oh, yeah, they're doing a podcast. And you get random people up. The Wi-Fi is adequate enough that you can do it. And even if it's just a half-hour chat with you sitting around a table, it's a really cool episode. And best case, it's, oh yeah, like here's so-and-so. And someone would go, oi, Jimmy, go and talk to those people. Just say hello. And it's a really cool experience. So if you're on the fence, share one room, get to know each other really well, spend the night, do a podcast.
No, that would be cool. Did you say that you've got a stand? Are you doing a stand this year?
I've been asked to help out or do something with the Make with Makers stand.
Oh, okay.
So I'm... suggestions on a postcard of what I should do. Again, what do I do? Oh, not very much at all.
Yeah.
Pick one thing. I can't really do beer making. I probably could do beer making. But I thought, maybe like make a ring or letterpress printing or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cobble together a terrible idea that I'll hate, but everyone else will hopefully be quite interested in and come along and say hello.
Yeah, that will be pretty cool. So there's not really anything I can. Well, I'm just making excuses. I'm really good at making excuses not to do things. So maybe 2023 we'd do something, but then you kind of think, well, it'll be a lot bigger, and then it's probably 500 quid a booth or something. I don't know. I've never done it solo, so I've done it for work, and when you do it professionally, when you've got like a 30 grand budget to do something, you've got everybody's got nice things and nice business cards, and it doesn't really matter what the cost, and there's Haribo for people to all this type of thing. And we've got a machine on the stand, and it's amazing, and then when you do it yourself, it's like, hello, I'm James, I make things. I don't know.
I would say first year, just go out, sit on the floor. There used to be a YouTube area, which sounded a bit, I don't know. None of us who were hanging out there particularly enjoyed the idea of like, oh God, we're in the YouTube area. Because I've got a camera and I put stupidly some videos online that my mom's watched 100 times. But sit there and do like a 10-minute, like, we're not podcasting this week, but here's 5-minute impression of what we think of Maker Central. Will be way cooler than setting up a stand. And aside from, having something like a phone to record it on. With minimal setup, and then someone will go, "Oh yeah, who were those guys?" They're all sitting on the floor doing a podcast. Like, grab someone, wave at them. That's what I would do.
I don't know whether to take like, I don't know whether to take camera equipment there. I've got a GoPro. I don't know whether to take the GoPro. I don't know. I'm really bad.
I would, I've always been on holidays or things. And I thought, should I bring my laptop or should I bring my camera? And I bring it, and I don't really do a lot with it, but I'm quite glad I did. And it's nice to look back. And if you can carry it, I found actually the people who run the stands are really nice.
Yeah.
There's invariably someone will know someone. Like I'm not doing it this year, so sorry to anyone who's excited by the idea that last year I brought 100 litres of beer, and I smuggled this, I say smuggled, I pushed it through the front door and people helped me. Essentially beer dispensing trolley that I put cold brew coffee and home brew on. And I spoke to someone at a stand who I knew, and he's like, oh yeah, sure, just plug in here, hide it around the back, don't worry. I now know that if you want cups at the NEC, you can call a number, pay over the phone, and they will hand deliver you 100 cups.
Really? Shit.
Because I was like, oh god, we're gonna have to. Can someone go to Starbucks? Just get 100, like as many cups as you can and run.
Brilliant.
No, the NEC is great. They will facilitate semi-legal, non-licensed alcohol not sales, as long as they don't know about it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. But that's the attitude of everyone's a bit like, yeah, all right, let's give it a go.
Well, I would say we've gone a little bit over in time, so
we've gone a little bit,
yeah.
And we do, in theory, I am going to come on the podcast with Matt and Rosie, and we're going to do a proper chat.
We are.
This was just the intro.
This was just like a tip. I would like,
and only for a minute and an hour and a bit.
I would like to say that we've been very, very grown up, and it has been a fantastic episode, and
we've been unusually grown up.
Yeah,
hasn't
weirdly grown up. And the only thing that I can say is that it's simply because Matt and Rosie aren't here.
That's the only possible explanation.
That is the only possible explanation. James from Malt And Make, it has been an absolute pleasure. To all that is listening, then be sure to go check him out on both Instagram and YouTube. I think the bribe, we'll make that into...
The bribe is next. I think just the enigma of the bribe. If you want to know what a bribe is,
look at the video.
It's on my Instagram, and there's a video on YouTube. BRIPE.
Phenomenal.
And we'll talk about it next time as a special treat for Matt and Rosie as an incentive to recover from their illness. maybe it's an incentive.
Absolutely. So this has been a special episode of the UK Makers Podcast. We both, James and James of this episode, of course, wish Matt and Rosie a speedy recovery, and they'll be on next week, no doubt. Hopefully, possibly, maybe. But regardless,
possibly, maybe, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Regardless, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.